almost 50,000 Cubans from the Miami area in Florida are facing deportations. That's because thousands of those Cubans filed for political asylum and were granted political asylum, except they went back and visited their homeland of Cuba. Well, the big deal is that when you file for political asylum, you're declaring that your life is in danger in your home country. And by these Cubans going back to Cuba to visit, that means that the entire process of the political asylum was fraud. The application asked for political asylum seekers to give detail of why they can't go back to their country, why their lives are in danger in their homeland. And Cubans gave those statements that their life was in danger if they ever went back to Cuba. So going back to visit Cuba after you've been granted political asylum indicates that these Cubans have been granted political asylum based on false information. Now, it's no secret, Cubans played a huge role on the re-election of Donald Trump. And a lot of them feel let down by this administration because now they're being sent back home. So I'm going to ask all the Latino community, and I will do the same, to please hold a moment of silence for the thousands of Cubans who now are going to be forced to go back to the island. So anyway,
At Little Havana's Domino Park, fear among those we spoke with about the possibility that in just days, those who benefit from SNAP, a federal assistance program, might not get the benefits in November because of the government shutdown. Enrique Gonzalez, who's 79 years old, says he benefits from SNAP. $128 a month helps him a lot. He'll be greatly affected, he says, asking the president for help, reminding us Mr. Trump likely won the presidency because of Cubans here in South Florida.
The senior citizens are almost going to starve.
Almost 3 million Floridians could suddenly be without vital food assistance. This number includes over 1 million children, over 700,000 seniors, and over 250,000 Floridians with disabilities.
All of those Cubans who arrived in the United States as adults who never worked in the United States and are receiving Social Security benefits are in trouble. The Donald Trump administration just announced that it will cut more than 50% of their benefits because they did not contribute anything in the United States. And the worst of all, many of those people are the ones who voted for Trump, and their children voted for Trump, and their grandchildren voted for Trump. Now, those elderly people who came from Cuba at 60-something, 50-something, 60-something years old, never worked here and took benefits created by the Democrats for people who arrive over 65 years of age are really going to be in trouble. And now Trump is going to cut it by 50% because they didn't contribute anything in the United States because they never worked in the United States. And do you want me to tell you something? I feel sorry for them, but that's why you voted to cut benefits for the shameless, right? Those shameless ones. So now you, the elderly who came over 65, who are Trump's shameless ones, will have their benefits cut by 50%. I imagine that now the children and grandchildren who had them living in their little apartment from Plan 8 in their house separately, and they could buy their yacht, could have their nice trucks, and could take their nice vacations because they didn't have to contribute a cent to support their parents or grandparents. Now they will have to face it again as God intended, supporting their relatives who didn't lift a finger here and are receiving benefits without having worked a day in the United States. These are the little things that Trump does. Sometimes I think I should be a Trump supporter. Then he does something else and I don't. But these things are very good. They are very good because these are the same people who voted for Trump. The children and grandchildren of those people are the ones who voted for Trump. Well, you didn't want the waste to end and for everything to be fine.
Here is the Trump era. All those
The man who immigrated to the U.S. from Cuba when he was 9 is on a hunger strike while in Africa, hoping to get the attention of the man he once supported.
He was very pro-Trump, super Trump supporter.
Monica Mosquera's dad was taken by ICE
A couple days before Father's Day.
Her father, Roberto, went for an annual check-in with immigration agents back in June and was taken into custody. But instead of being deported to his native Cuba, the 58-year-old is one of at least 5 men sent to a maximum security prison in the Kingdom of Eswatini over the summer, a small country in Africa criticized for alleged human rights abuses.
How we go from one moment of me hugging my dad and being with him all the time and just being his little girl, and then to he's just on a different country in prison. For what? He did his time years ago.
The Department of Homeland Security highlighted Roberto Mosquera as the worst of the worst, stressing he was a convicted murderer.
It's kind of messed up that you guys are labeling my father as a murderer.
We found Mosquera has a lengthy criminal record in Miami-Dade, and it shows he was convicted, not for murder, but for attempted murder back in the 80s. He spent years getting his life back on track.
He is a plumber. Very, very hardworking.
His attorney adding now his life is on the line.
Monica tells me she's very concerned about her dad in this hunger strike. She hasn't heard from him in over a week. His attorney alleges not only is this against international law, you have a man in a prison on no charge.
So this is a crazy story. Imagine you get deported, but you get deported to the wrong country. Now, I don't know if his hunger strike resulted in Donald Trump doing anything, because I don't think he knows who you are. But yeah, some of y'all Cubans in Miami, I know how y'all roll. So, you know, good luck, I guess.
I will vote for Donald Trump, even though he keep deporting y'all.
An immigrant tycoon is taking on Donald Trump right in the heart of Miami, and the showdown is about to explode. Michael B. Mike Fernandez, a Cuban-American billionaire, has decided to confront the former president head-on and challenge his anti-immigrant policies. How? By pouring millions into a billboard campaign across the city, displaying bold messages, * deporting immigrants is cruel, *, and he's not bluffing. Fernandez has already declared he's ready to spend up to * $30 million on this political war. But the price of defiance is high. The tycoon revealed he has received heavy threats, ground meat dumped on his property with intimidation notes, public insults, and direct attacks from Trump supporters. Still, he refuses to back down. The billboards don't just target Trump, but also powerful congressional allies like Marco Rubio, Mario Diaz-Balart, Carlos Gimenez, and Maria Elvira Salazar. The message is clear. Miami, the capital of Cuban exile, has become the stage for a fierce political battle. The big question remains, can one solitary tycoon shake the political empire of Trump in one of Florida's most conservative strongholds? The war has already begun, and Miami is the battlefield.
This is the election that has the Republicans most worried. See, Miami hasn't had a Democratic mayor in almost 30 years, but that might be about to change. In Tuesday's election, Democrat Eileen Higgins led the race with nearly 36% of the vote, and another Democrat, Ken Russell, pulled about 18%, and that means over half of Miami's voters just supported Democratic candidates in a city that's long been considered a Republican stronghold. Now, because no one hit the 50% mark, the race heads to a runoff on December 9th between Eileen Higgins and Republican-backed Emilio Gonzalez, who is a DeSantis ally and former city manager. Now, if Higgins unites Russell's voters, Miami could officially flip blue for the very first time in decades, right in Ron DeSantis' own backyard. And here's why this is such a big deal. See, for years, Miami's large Cuban-American population leaned very Republican, but Donald Trump and MAGA seem to have changed that. See, when you start treating people with accents or brown skin like second-class citizens, even those who once voted for you, well, they notice. And the same thing happened in the 1960s. Republicans drove black voters away for generations with their racist Southern strategy. And now they're doing the same thing to Latino voters. Trump's ICE bounty plans, his rhetoric about immigrants, his public disdain for anyone who isn't white, native-born, or compliant, well, it's all coming back to haunt him because these voters are done being scapegoated. Now, if Elaine Higgins wins this runoff, it won't just be a local win. It'll be proof that the MAGA movement's fear-based politics are collapsing under their own hate. And history tells us one thing. Once voters leave a party over racism, they don't ever come back.
Okay, I have a question for everyone who lives in Miami, South Florida area. If you do not live in the South Florida area, keep swirling. Okay, now that they're gone, I want to know what happened. Why do the Cubans and Colombians here hate the blacks so much and make it blatant obvious? Like, I do not understand. When I'm in Cali, different Latinos, but me and the Mexicans, great. New York, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, blacks, great. In South Florida, oh my God, the Cubans and Colombians go out their way to be rude, nasty, and racist to us, and I don't understand it. And of course, I'm not saying all. Don't ever get it confused. I'm never saying all. I have some really close friends that are Cuban, love them to death. But the majority is wild. Like, it's so weird to me. And there's so many Afro-Cubans. So I'm like, do you guys treat the Afro-Cubans like this in Cuba? Like, how is this going? Like, they go out their way to be rude, nasty, and racist and let you know in their face. They're damn near worse than the white people that are racist. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I have a homegirl, love her down. She's Cuban. She looks more like a lighter complexion Cuban, but she has like 4C hair. And she even tells me how hard it is for her family. Like, oh my God, it's embarrassing. Straighten. And I'm like, why? But like the other day, I was staying like an hour away from my house in South Florida, so I decided to get a hotel because I didn't feel like driving an hour was going to be at night. Guy at the front desk, so rude, nasty to me. Check-in's at 3. It's like 2:50. I see a Latino woman in front of me check in, and after me, let somebody check in. Nope, you better wait. Blah, 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 blah. And you can't lay on the couch. You can't do this on the couch. I'm like, sir, and I literally just like lean on the couch on the pillow to wait, like on the armrest. I'm like, okay. Then in the middle of the night, I come down to buy something from the store in the hotel. He's like, the store's closed. I'm doing inventory. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I can wait. How long will it be? All night. You mean to tell me the store's closed all night? Really? 10 minutes later, I'm in the hallway getting some ice. I see a Hispanic man and woman coming in with drinks. So where you guys get it from? Oh, the store downstairs. I said, he said it was closed. Oh, yeah. He just took the rope off and opened it for me because it was just a rope. I'm like, what? Like, and that's just a small thing. I mean, it happens every day. The other day, I'm in Walmart, self-checkout, bringing out stuff. And mind you, I'm bringing out stuff for work. So I got like a lot of little candies and gum, little cheap stuff, like $1 or $2. And the lady's watching me. I can feel her burning into my back. Mind you, it's like eight self-checkout. She don't think anybody else. I'm the only black person there, though. Next thing I know, she runs to the door. I want to check your bag. I said, no, why? Let me check. So she's trying to count every little thing. And I have like 30 little things. All of them are $2 or less. She's counting. I think you missed one. I'm like, nope, it's right here. And then I did 2 separate transactions, so I know she's pissed now. But I'm like, and then another lady comes to the door, another Spanish lady, and she's like, no, you're not doing this to her. You guys kill me every time I come in the store. You guys treat black people bad. My baby's father is black. We're not doing this. And they start arguing in Spanish. So I appreciate her standing up for me, but why do you have to? Mind you, it's a lady to the right of me, a Hispanic lady. Dead ass, I seen her stealing. I ain't that ain't my business. But you're so busy watching me, you're not even watching Shorty over here. Like, I don't know. I just want answers. I just want to know if anyone knows the reason why it's so much division in what the hate is about. Because I don't like that. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? We're all minorities. Let's love each other. Like, what's the problem? You guys let me know. Y'all have a blessed day. Later.
So Miami, Florida is officially the city in the United States with the highest amount of senior citizens that are on SNAP benefits, which is, EBT, food stamps, whatever you want to call it. The Republicans control the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the presidency, every single lever of power in this country, right? And if no agreement is reached to reopen the government very, very soon, next month in November, 42 million people in this country are at risk of no longer receiving food stamps, EBT, overall SNAP benefits, right? That includes senior citizens, that includes children, that includes people with disabilities, that includes just low-income people overall, right? And it's pretty sad and at the same time ironic that here in Miami is where we have the highest level of seniors in the entire country that are on these kinds of benefits. Because on one hand, it's really, really sad and messed up that someone that has worked 20, 30, 40 years in this country, that has earned their retirement benefits, right, can no longer receive them because of a government shutdown. With the cost of living in Miami, that's extremely high, the economy in general, that's terrible. It's unfair for seniors to not have that assistance to be able to at least eat dignified every single month. But on the other hand, Donald Trump won the election in Miami-Dade County with 55% of the vote. Numbers don't lie. That means that the majority of the senior citizens that live in Dade County likely voted for this. They voted for their own benefits to be taken away from them. Which also includes Medicare, by the way, because one of the reasons that this whole shutdown is still going is because the Democrats are trying to avoid the Trump administration and MAGA from completely destroying the American healthcare system with Medicaid, Medicare, Obamacare, all that, right? Like, for example, did you guys know that Miami-Dade County is the county in the United States with the highest amount of Obamacare applications? Specifically, nationwide, the areas in this country where the most amount of people enroll for Obamacare is Doral and Hialeah. Again, the same people that went diehard for Donald Trump are the same people that are going to be the victims of his policies. Let me know what you guys think.
Can Florida flip blue? The answer is yes. I'll have many argue with me that it's not possible. They only look at part of the factors and part of the information. So here's what I would suggest. You need to look at all the voter registration numbers, number one. If you look at just Republican and Democrat, yes, currently the Republicans outnumber the Democrats, Florida statewide, about by 1 million. There are 5.4 million Republicans versus 4.4 million Democrats. Sure, that on alone, obviously the Democrats are behind. But you failed to mention two other very important categories. Independents, no party registration. There are 3.6 million registered independents in Florida. 25% of the state, 3.6 million. There are also another 404,000, another small percent, but another 404,000 that are of minor party registration. So 4 million of the almost 14 million people are either no party or minor parties. So again, please use correct information, because all the independents are not breaking to Trump, number one. Number two, all the Republicans will not turn out and vote. Likewise, all the Democrats won't either. So it's key on who's going to get their voters to the polls. And it's key on how both the independents, which are 3.6 million, more than enough to make up the 1 million difference in Democrat and Republican, and another 400,000 minor party candidates, how they vote, do they turn out, what do they think? And we have obviously the abortion issue on the ballot to extend abortion rights to 15 weeks. That's somewhere in a 60 to 70% approval rating. We also have the right to legalize weed, Amendment 3 to 3 ounces. That's on the ballot. That's going to pull out more people. And recent experience in Florida has not broken well for the Republicans. It's all been for the Democrats. Donna Deegan flipped Jacksonville, a predominantly red area that DeSantis won by 20%. She won by 6% and is only the second Democratic mayor in 30 years in Jacksonville. We had Tom Keene in Orlando flip a seat that was held by Republicans for about 15 to 20 years back in December, January, and flipped it to blue. So it can flip. Also, DeSantis is about as popular as a unalive skunk right now, and with his handling of the hurricanes and other issues. So we'll see. Is it possible? Certainly it's possible. And then lastly, Taylor Swift is going to pull out more people, and Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, is going to be in Broward County this Wednesday for a large rally. The date, the location has not been specified yet, and also for a fundraiser in Miami, also on Wednesday the 23rd. They would not be wasting them coming into Florida if it wasn't possible to win. Lastly, Broward County, the reason they're coming here is Broward County is the bluest of all counties in Florida. Several 100,000 vote advantage to the Democrats. Likewise, Miami-Dade is very important too, and there is a Democrat advantage there, even though I know you all think it's not. There is. Likewise, Palm Beach, likewise, is blue. So again, we'll see. Is it possible? Certainly it's possible. Can I guarantee who's going to turn out to vote? I cannot guarantee it. And the last thing I will say too, many women, even if they are in a MAGA household, are not voting for Trump. Now, they're not going to say anything publicly about it. They're not even going to tell their spouse about it, but they're going to go in that ballot booth, and many of them are going to pull the lever. They're going to mark the box. They're going to dot it depending on what is appropriate in each of the various counties, however they vote. And they're not voting for Trump, I promise you. They're not going to say anything about it because they don't want to have the MAGAs go after them. But they're not voting for Trump either. And Nikki Haley did take 20% of the vote in Florida. Even after she dropped out, they didn't like Trump either. There are a lot of never-Trumpers here that are Republicans. We'll see. Based on sheer numbers, if you don't count all the numbers, doesn't look good. But if you count all the numbers, it looks pretty damn good. About like back in 1974, which none of y'all remember, but I grew up in North Carolina, and Carolina was behind Duke at Carolina, final game of the season. With 17 seconds to go, they were behind 8 points. No three-point shots, anything. They basically steal the ball, do all kinds of miracles. They score 8 points in 17 seconds, put the game in overtime and beat Duke. So this game is far from over with. Far from over with. The voting starts tomorrow in Florida, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for the next 13 days for early voting. So vote, and we'll see what happens. I can't predict who's going to vote, but can it flip blue? Sure it can. And Debbie McChrystal-Powell can beat Rick Scott. She's in the margin of error to do that right now, and we'll see how those ladies break. Can't believe they're all crazy Rick Scott fans. Not the Medicaid Medicare fraud king. Nope. So we'll see what Florida does.
You are on a wet farm, okay?
What? You say what?
When you pick a tomato from the farm.
No, I don't fucking farm a guy like you. You're marketing because you live in Florida, no?
These are the Cubans that voted for Trump. They're fucking racist. They're hypocritical. Because him himself, he came through the border. Illegally, he crossed over, but thankfully he had wet foot, dry foot. And then a year and 1 month later, he applied for his residency and he applied for the Cuban Adjustment Act that was given to him by Democrats. But then he goes ahead and he votes against his own interests. When right now you have Donald J. Trump taking away and deporting Cubans. And he's fine with that. Because he feels that he's superior than everybody else. He feels that he's a gringo. That he's accepted by the MAGA cult. But at the end of the day, if it were up to them, you wouldn't be in this country. You fucking piece of shit. And I'm sorry on behalf of the Cubans that are like this. I truly am. All right? But not all Cubans are like this. I just want you guys to know that. But the ones that voted for Trump, unfortunately, yes, they're like this. Let's go show him how you guys feel about this. His username is Otto Bagadi on TikTok. His name is Ariel Medina. Go figure, Ariel. Let's go say hi to Ariel. Take care.
Yeah, so I voted for Trump. You voted for Trump? But I thought you were, yeah, I'm Cuban. But like, you're like Cuban. What? I know, it's a bummer. I'm Cuban. What are you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna unfollow you because you're Cuban dudes and you're Cuban.
The Trump administration has been quietly sending Cuban immigrants to African countries and
This has just crossed another line. But before I tell you how, do me a favor, hit that follow, because I am going to continue to put out news blast after news blast about the Nazification of America, and you're not going to want to miss a single report. A U.S. citizen who we're protecting by calling her Rachel S. is a member of a rapid response team in Los Angeles. She was brutally beaten unconscious by masked men that were ICE agents at a Home Depot. Her crime was filming them, these pussy-ass bitches that have to beat up a woman. Imagine what they do to their kids and wives at home. Anyway, witnesses say agents dragged her into a side alley, beat her so badly that she had to be rushed to Cedars-Sinai. Then they kidnapped her from the hospital without a formal discharge, in other words, making her leave against medical advice, and then locked her up for 8 hours with 0 charges, 0 due process. So let's be honest, MAGA Nazis. This isn't immigration enforcement. This is Gestapo Nazi behavior. Masked men brutalizing people in alleys, punishing citizens for watching,
dressing them across the Mexican border to Mexico. In May 2025, the U.S. deported 8 individuals, including 2 Cuban men named Enrique Arias Hierro and Jose Manuel Rodriguez Quinones, to South Sudan. Cuba refused to take them back. In July 2025, the U.S. deported another Cuban national, Roberto Mosquera del Peral, to the southern African kingdom of Eswatini. Just days before Father's Day, Roberto Mosquera was detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents in South Florida during his annual check-in. But instead of being deported to his native Cuba, he was sent to Africa. The 58-year-old is among at least 5 men transferred this summer to a maximum security prison in the southern African kingdom of Eswatini. Several deportees told the Miami Herald they were driven by U.S. Homeland Security to the southern border and handed off to Mexican authorities, despite having lived in the U.S. for years. If we can quite recall, A lot of Cubans voted for Donald Trump. They were so proud of voting for Donald Trump that they made a hit song about it. Every election, Cubans in Florida unanimously vote Republican. This time, it looks like it has worked against them, as the Trump administration is scooping up almost any Cuban and deporting them to third world countries. Do you feel sorry for the Cubans in Florida who voted for Donald Trump?
Good morning, my little warriors of democracy. How are we feeling today? We should be feeling good. We should have a little natural high going on. I think we won every single seat except for the city of Miami, because that is going into a runoff. And guess what? It's between a Democrat and a Republican in Miami. So that is a great sign. And I think we need to put a lot of work and effort into that race in Miami. Sorry, Ken Russell, we love you. You were number 3 though. Now, last week I made a video talking about the Orlando Commission race for District 1, and that this man, who is the Republican, even though it's a nonpartisan race, wanted you to know that he was the last Republican standing, the only one, literally the only one. And he's gone. And he's gone. Because my friend, Tom Keene, won that seat. Thank goodness. And I'm going to tell you, Tom Keene actually put in the work and effort. I'm glad I don't have to see his people anymore in the red tent in the freaking public shopping lot. Those boomers that wear those MAGA gear. You lost. I told you, Lake Nona is becoming bluer by the second. If you don't see this as a referendum on the Republican Party, I don't know what is. Stay blue, my friends. Stay blue. And congratulations.
A growing number of Cuban American Trump voters are waking up with a case of political whiplash. After backing the former president in hopes of economic revival and, only deporting the bad guys, some are now watching their own families get swept up in ICE raids and deportation proceedings. One woman in Florida says she voted for Trump thinking he'd only deport criminals. Instead, her husband, a father of 2 with no criminal record, was deported right in the middle of his citizenship interview. Surprise! You are the others you thought you were voting against. Turns out campaign promises don't come with a warranty. As one disillusioned voter put it, I didn't vote for the deportation of Hispanics, but for the deportation of criminals. Well, the fine print says otherwise. More at 11, or whenever reality checks clear.
I will vote